everybody, it's Hippodippin, and today we're going to be doing some Pokemon competitive analysis. Today we're going to be doing Skarmory. I've used him on a couple of my teams, and yeah, let's get right into it. I made two sets here. One's a defensive one, and this one is a offensive one, and both work out fine. I usually use the defensive one just because I want a little bit more bulk on my team, but yeah, let's go ahead and look at what we can use him for. For his item, I like to run Rocky Helmet, but then again, you could always run Leftovers. Leftovers is a very good option if you want a little bit more of a recovery on each turn, but usually I like to stick with Rocky Helmet. Whoops, spelled helmet wrong. And Rocky Helmet, you know, loses 1/6 of their max HP, so that works out pretty nicely if they happen to hit you with a physical attack that makes contact, and usually they do, so they're going to be taking some kind of damage. And really, you know, it's a good item to run under the defensive Pokemon, and thankfully Skarmory's got that excellent typing to go along with it. So we're going to go ahead and look at his abilities. He's got Sturdy, which is very nice. He lives any attack, so that's great. Keen Eyes, you know, not that great. And Weak Armor is pretty great, and I'm going to be using this ability for his offensive stats. So we're going to stick with Sturdy since it's the defensive. And for his moves, I went ahead and filled out some pretty good moves. I decided to go with Drill Peck instead of Brave Bird, because when you account for stab, you're only looking at a 20%, difference in power. And really, I can live with that. You know, it is what it is. And also, you're avoiding recoil, and that's the big thing. I want as little damage on this Skarmory as possible. And really, it's great. And, you know, it's something that I look forward to. And, yeah. So, when we go ahead and look at Iron Head, 30% chance of flinch. Defog will remove all hazards from the field, and that's pretty great. That's pretty awesome, especially if you have a Pokemon that's weak to rocks or spikes or something like that. Toxic spikes are also going to be an issue. But let's look at Roost. Roost heals 50%, and your flying type is removed, so you want to do that when you think the opponent's going to do something else, like not go for an earthquake. Do that. So yeah, you know, this is a pretty good, you know, defensive stat. I really wouldn't recommend anything else than this. Although if you did not mind about the recoil, go ahead and fill out Brave Bird. But really, I kind of like to stick with Drill Peck. It's whoops, where is it? There it is. I'm just avoiding that recoil, and that's all that matters to me. I want as little damage on this Skarmory as possible, and just to make it last out there as long as possible. So that's great. Let's go ahead and look at his stats. As you can see, I kind of did a strange setup here. I kind of only put 4 EVs in his defense, and I put the rest in HP and attack. So, if we go ahead and look at that, his HP's sitting okay. It's at a fairly high area, and his attack is going to be, you know, fairly high. For a wall, a mainly defensive Pokemon, it's going to be okay. And for his defense, he's still sitting on a pretty high defensive stat, so I'm not too worried about that. And the reason why I did this, the reason why I put so much EVs in his attack and pretty much 4 in his defense, is just because I usually have a few defensive Pokemon on my teams. But if you don't, and if you want to make this your primary defensive Pokemon, you can go ahead and switch that up, no problem at all. And, oops, move that, let's put that as 4, and let's give him the boost in defense. And as you can see, he has a pretty high defense, 416, that's up there with like Cofrigigus, you know, Aggron, it's up in that range, and really, I mean, that's pretty great. I definitely look into that if you really wanted a defensive Pokemon, but really, I like to stick with the setup I had previously, which is a max attack, and yeah. So the reason I do that is just because I want something else that can take a hit and then do a little bit more damage, and that's really what I like to see. So that's a defensive Skarmory in a nutshell there. He's pretty good. He's pretty good at what he does, and let's go ahead and take a look at his offensive set. Same Pokemon. Item is a red card, and I'll tell you why. When you use a red card, right, it switches the attacker to a random ally. So when they switch in a Pokemon that is going to be good against Skarmory, they're going to get switched out to something that is most likely not at the best position to take on Skarmory. So what that does is it allows you, because once you take a hit, they're going to switch. And coupled with the ability Weak Armor, once a physical attack hits his Pokemon, defense is lowered 1 and speed is boosted 1. So that's great. That's exactly what we want. Because really, once you get, a few attacks on you, your speed is going to be freaking fantastic. Like, max speed is 262. Now, if you get a boost, you're going to be sitting up there with some of the much faster Pokemon, like Krookodile with a Choice Scarf. Well, without a Choice Scarf, excuse me. You're going to be sitting up there with some of the more faster Pokemon, and that's what we want to see. And luckily, his defense is high enough to where he can take maybe two physical hits, and once he gets those 2 boosts, it's going to be fantastic for you, and not so great for the opponent. Now, let's look at his moves. 2 of the moves are pretty much exactly the same, Drill Peck and Iron Head. Sword Stance is just to boost your attack, so what you want to do is this. When you send out your Skarmory, right, go ahead and go for a Sword Stance, because they might attack you, right? And once they do, they're going to get switched out. And you're going to get that Sword Stance buff up, and that's what we want. And I also threw on Rock Slide here, just for a little bit more coverage. Rock Slide is usually not a bad move at all. And it can definitely hit other flying type Pokemon and other Pokemon you might not be able to do so much damage to, like Ice Pokemon, although you do have Iron Head. But, that's just another, coverage. If you wanted to run Night Slash, for example, that's also good. That's a very good move. The only benefit with Rock Slide is it hits 2 if you're running this in doubles. But really, all of these Pokemon that I've done are mainly for singles. But still, you can go ahead and run with it. It all depends on what your team needs. Night Slash is a good option. I'm going to go ahead and leave it up there. But, this is just a general set, and let's look at his stats. I gave him 4 in HP, 252 in attack, and 252 plus in his speed. And his attack and speed are very close. Very close. And, yeah, it's a really good Pokemon. I enjoy using him, and I'm going to be using this offensive set maybe in the future. Because in the past I've been using this defensive set, and really, both are viable, perfectly viable, and yeah. I'm Hippidippin. If you like the content, subscribe, I appreciate it, you guys are great, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks, bye.